Hi, everyone. Welcome tonight. It's good to see everyone. We Please post in the chat um, what your name is, introduce yourselves, say what camp you're from, where you're joining us geographically tonight. Um, Welcome to our second campfire talk of the season. We are the Campfire Talks camp support team. And we are a group of volunteers who are also theme camp organizers who put on these webinars and meetings various times throughout the year to bring other theme camp organizers and Burning Man campers together to share resources and network with each other. For our call tonight, we decided to have another open call where we together collectively will drive what we want to talk about. Larry tonight is our chat moderator. He has put a little sign-in sheet into the chat for you. And as we're all gathering tonight, we're interested in hearing from you what issues you would like to talk about, and what you might want to hear about tonight. Um, so, given that this is an event for camps to share resources and build community with each other, take a second, throw into the chat what you're interested in talking about tonight, and say hello to everyone. As we're gathering those things together, hopefully we'll get a little bit some more people in tonight. Um, and in addition to introducing ourselves via the chat, I'm wondering if maybe our camp support team might be willing to start off some introductions of the people who are here, given that we're a relatively small group tonight. I can go first. My name is Vesper Bell. I have been burning since 2014, and I camp with the Alternative Energy Zone. Epiphany, would you like to go next?
Yes, I am Epiphany. I camp with Volkswagen Bus Camp. Um, I we have been on Playa for many, many years. I'm interested to talk tonight about ideas for interactivity that don't cost a lot of money. I think that might be nice to hear from other folks about what you all are doing out there. Um, And I'm glad to see everyone's faces. If anybody else is interested to turn on your camera, I'd love to wave and say hi to you. How about Larry?
Larry here, Camp Orange Heart. About this will be year 5. We offer a mocktail, and it's low cost, but it's still generally a cost to supply beverages that are non-alcoholic on Playa and hydration. So interested in other ideas about interactivity, like you said, and also how to make sure your carports or shade structure is definitely secure. If it's 12 inches, 18 inches, 24 inches, lag bolts, whatever you have to do to keep things up and to keep the shade in place and not blown away. Let's see,
I'll go
Puppy,
next because I
you
want
want
to
to
talk about that
go for it.
weather agenda. So I'm with Nova Heaven, which is a art piece that evolves each year on Playa, but was a canopy that got destroyed by the weather last year. So I'm very interested to talk about that. And I'm part of the Camp Support Network group, and I've been going to Burning Man since 2010. This is where I'm at an art support camp lead now, but I used to be with Disorient and Costume Cult and all the big New York camps back in the day. And I live in Reno now. So I'm just down the street from our other home at Black Rock City. So let's see. Puppy.
Sure, I am at Camp Religious as Fuck, and we've been a camp since 2019. We got about 25 or so people, and we're at that point where like the new camp smell has worn off. Um, and as a community, we're trying to figure out who we are and who we want to be. And the last couple of years has been really tough as us as a camp. So we've had some people dropping out, wrestling a little bit with our identity. That and of course all the weather stuff that everyone wants to talk about and how to survive the apocalypse. Griffin, have you gone?
I have not gone actually. Hi, my name is Griffin. 2019 was my first year, and I camped with Blinsko in 1922, but now I camp with the airport. So I've been part of this lovely group for about a year or so now, and help with the camp symposium. My interest when it comes to camps actually is camp longevity and succession planning has been a thing because it's always around one person herding cats, and when that key person disappears, some camps continue to thrive, whereas others tend to falter. And so, how to maintain that in much of like any other part of life as well. Peter.
Hi, I'm Peta. Fafa Camp. I've been on volunteering for camp support for many years. Love this volunteer job because of the great community that we get to interface with all the time. I love, Epiphany, your idea of low cost or no cost interactivities. We do a few of those at our camp. So I'll chime in when it's time to talk about that, or I'll put it in the chat. Nice to see everybody here. Brady Cat, do you want to say hi? I know your video's not on, but Brady Cat's also part of our team. There she is.
Hey, I'm still working. So, I'm Bratty Cat. Did we have a check-in question? What are we doing?
Just introduce yourself.
I'm Bratty Cat. I still have work brain. I'm the lead placer for 3 o'clock this year. I'm also on the camp network team, helping produce these campfire talks, and I've been on SOG placement. I have a volunteer problem. I live in Eugene, Oregon. I have camped with vomiting sparrows, misbehave, ideate in my very first burn in 2013. And I've also built some art, so I try to do it all.
Cool. I'm wondering if any of our participants who are here tonight, if you would like to introduce yourself to the group. Raise your hand and I'll call on you, and we'll
Jeremy.
see who's here. Yeah, Jeremy.
Hi guys, I'm Jeremy. It's great to meet you all. I camped with Camp East Central for my first year at the Burn, and I'm building a kind of a tech art we call Connection Medicine for the Burn, which is a peer-to-peer network that forms a local network at the Burn so that you can message and find your friends or locate to navigate to Playa, drop messages to each other like, "Oh, avoid these porta potties." Or this art car is really sick. We're also pretty interested in like having real time updates on things like Midnight Tacos isn't happening. So that you don't bike out there at midnight and go, where is everybody? But it's a passion project of mine that I've been working on for a long time. We actually did our first pilot at the Burn last year and had 100% of messages delivered offline between the phones, and used our location system in a cardiac situation to help EMR reach someone faster.
Wow.
Yeah, and so in the future, what we want to do is tie in like ability to like just like say there's a problem here, and then have people show up instead of having to like navigate to your nearest ranger.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy. I'm glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Others. Who else wants to say hi? Aaron.
Erin, you're mute.
I know, I'm so sorry. I'm on my phone. I'm also trying to turn my camera on, but talk about user error here. Hi, I'm Erin. I'm Bubs. I have been burning since 2005. I've done everything from camping completely solo to camping with Akavalo, art car camp from New York, some other camps, and ooh, hey, hi guys, thank you. Um, 4 years ago, I was recruited by a group of 11 people who had never been before to be their camp lead. And so that was our first year as a camp. And it was incredible. That was also the rainy year. Um, Everything that you guys have been talking about, I am a relatively new lead, so I'm open to anything I can learn. At this point, we have a very small camp we're looking at 13 people this year. I'm hoping to grow it a little bit. Um, we are hard as a rock. It's a geology-based camp. Most of our campers are now going to be third-year campers, and recruitment and keeping camp dues reasonable. And we do rock painting for our interactivity, which I love, but I'd love to expand it. So I'm really just here to learn, and I love getting to see everybody. So this is awesome. Thank you.
Cool, welcome. I'm really glad that you came tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else want to say hi? We dive into things. Heard some stuff about, we want to talk about interactivity, infrastructure planning, weather.
I see
Is
Captain.
everyone, oh yeah, herding cats.
I see Captain Ron is here. I see Gary is here. Does
Mhm.
Jake or Dean or Jetpack want to introduce themselves? Anybody want to unmute and say hi? Douglas from Marrowstone Island. That looks so cool where you are. Is that a real background?
Well, it's a real place, but it's my default background. It's about 3 miles down the road from me. Um, I haven't been to the event. I'm strictly here to learn. I may not ever make it. I've just had major surgery to have steel rods put in my back, and my physical abilities may preclude me from camping on the playa at all. So if I do participate, it will be with the Temple Guardians. So I'm just here to learn and listen.
Great. I love that. I love that you came just to listen and learn. And don't count yourself out. Um, and particularly if you are like attending some of these things to kind of learn about like what would it be like to go to Burning Man. The camp symposium in a couple of weeks is going to feature a little bit from Mobility Camp, which is an amazing camp that's been on Playa for about 15 years, that helps facilitate accessibility of the playa to people who might need that. So you might still be able to go to Burning Man and still have an amazing time. So it's like strongly encourage you to seek them out, and shameless plug also to get people to the camp symposium as well in a couple weeks. Yeah. Puppy, I see you.
Yeah, I don't know how if this is a good conversation topic, but I am curious if other camps, we just sent out our who's coming back, who wants to go this year email, and it looks like it's our numbers are about half of what they were last year at this time.
Mm.
And I'm wondering, we have people with their own personal situations, but last year was really hard, and I'm just curious if other camps are having in a similar situation where there's a big drop off for this coming year. And we're meeting next week as leaders to talk about, do we want to take a year off, or do we want to retool who we are as a camp? I'm just curious what the temperature is in other camps.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, I was thinking about this too, Puppy, that like this is the time of year where we're starting to pull together as camps and like really starting to go through that placement checklist of what do we need to do as a camp. Um, so posing this out to all of you, like how have things been so far as you're reaching out to your camps? Numbers drop-offs, lots more people than usual. A couple of people who haven't had anything. Um,
So according to the chat, PETA and Agenda, they haven't had any drop off, so it's just my camp that sucks.
no.
Oh, no.
Only you.
What are you doing wrong, puppy?
Exactly.
I think in our case, we have an international camp, and so we have kind of a rhythm, if you will, where there is every other year. A number of the international campers come every other year, and this is the other every other year. But nevertheless, it always seems to come to the same number. So I wouldn't be discouraged, unless it's like solo, you can't pull your camp off the ground. But I don't know. It always feels like with our camp that even when we have too many and we're like, oh my gosh, and it always kind of sifts down to 40, the magic number of 42, which is where we're always trying to get to, or lower. So.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's like Puppy, we've got a little bit of same as usual. Um, but I've definitely heard what Claire Jean has been experiencing, which is people are like soft yes, but maybe are not willing to commit hard yes, or maybe like a hard yes with money quite yet. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, the BS Booze Cruise um has one of their leaders maybe taking a year off and doing some downsizing. Yeah. I know in our small camp, one of our main three leads is taking the year off this year. So we have to kind of shift things around for that.
Does the census track how many people come back year after year? Yes. So do we know how many were virgins last year, the percentage of the pie? Have they released the census stuff from last year yet? So many questions. But I'm curious if I feel like there's, it just out of my heart, more returnees than virgins as a percentage of the pie since reigning year,
Mm.
the first reigning year, or the most recent one.
Yeah,
They ask questions that would allow us to figure that out, because they ask you which years you've been. So I don't recall there being "were you here last year" question. But there's definitely they definitely collect data regarding which years you have been. So
Yeah, Epiphany.
I don't have an answer to that question. Did anyone want to follow up who does? Because I was going to go another direction.
Yeah. Peta, do you know about census?
Well, I just wanted to give a plug that Census is going to be giving a short informational spotlight about what they do and why they do it and why it's important in the camp symposium. So I think a blurb just went out today again for the camp symposium, but if you want to know more about census, that's what I have to share right now.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oh, it looks like some people are doing some great investigation and putting in the chat about attendees. Cool. Cool. Okay, it looks like we have some participant splits in the chat. Fantastic. Epiphany, do you want to take us in the other direction you were going to go?
Yeah, and so we'll also include the link in the chat to our resources doc, which we'll post here shortly, and then also at the end of our talk tonight. So you'll have all of our links all in one place. I just was going to say that Bus Camp has had a few folks saying that they're not planning to come back this next year, and a few that are like kind of on the fence. So I was chiming into that conversation.
Yeah. And I
I had,
noticed that, oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say I had seen Jeremy go off mute and Captain Ron come on camera. So I wasn't sure if they were getting
Sorry.
ready to talk. That's okay.
No.
Please join us. Yeah. Go ahead, Vesper.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that a couple of people had brought up particularly like either some reticence in people coming back this year, or Claire and I were kind of experiencing I want to say yes, but I'm gonna like soft yes until I figure out my like money situation. And so I'm wondering among you all here how you might handle your campers having money issues or raising that with you. Um, how do you handle someone who might not be able to um, like put down money for a DGS ticket in February, but they're a core member that you definitely want to get to Burning Man? Or how do you handle the economics of going to Burning Man suddenly being an issue for your campers? Other than finding an angel investor.
yeah, we've been always able to, when we were in the bigger camps, there was a sliding scale. And then if someone was having a particularly lifey year,
Mm.
there would be enough, within the community to support them. But that just takes communication, and letting the community know that they can ask for those things. But I feel like we always know what's going on with the Z Camp Buzz.
Yeah. We've had people try to get low income tickets before. But often low income tickets have opened late in the season and then they're not notified until late in the season. And that's been really hard for people to be able to like put their eggs in that basket. Um, like the let's band together as a community kind of approach was nice. Griffin.
I can speak to this a little bit about what my old camp used to do, and it was quite interesting. So it was blinzko, so we made blinzes, and my camp lead was very specific about how many people he needed in his camp, and it was capped at around 30. So that was always the goal. And at the start of the year, he would get a sense of how many previous participants would be coming back again. We were also in a hub with several other sibling camps. And basically, the routine was we would find a bunch of individuals who could get as many DGS tickets as possible. Everybody who could apply for low income would apply for low income. And so we would get this pool of tickets between ourselves and the rest of our camps. And then we would end up divvying it up afterwards and see where everything fell. And usually, because you needed the camp to run, he was very, very particular about how much activity he did, and you needed 30 people to make it run for the whole week. If there was any space remaining, that's when we did a call out to local like whatever our how do you say channels that we had, communication channels that we had to backfill those positions. And that's how we got new people every year, because there was always a shortfall of just a little bit. And so we had people who would then cycle in, some people as far as Michigan who knew somebody who knew somebody, or who was on some mailing list. And then if we had too many tickets for some reason, we would share it with one of our sibling camps that didn't, and vice versa. And it would all just kind of balance out in that process. It was a very interesting sort of optimization problem, you could say. But that's the way that we handled it. Yeah. This was also during a time when tickets were quite easy to sell as well. That did make a little bit of a difference, yeah.
Yeah. Aaron.
Yeah, I'm actually curious too about the recruitment, because that's been something that's been hard for our camp, and money has been a part of it. Just kind of the general cost, and I think that especially for anybody that's their first year, it's a like, oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. Oh my God, August is here. What happened? But we also we have one person in our camp who is very, very, I would say hyper aware, but very aware of energies. And she's just very concerned about how you vet new campers. And I have experienced that things very much tend to work out. I also have no problem with the not fun parts of leadership of needing to, talk to somebody or deal with anything that goes sideways. But I'm really curious how people vet new campers, or if there's a process or an application, what everybody is doing for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just curious, either people who have cameras on, or you can also use one of the reaction buttons. Um, Raise your hand or do a little reaction-y thing if your camp does a referral by like connection. So like you have to know someone to be able to get into a camp. Okay. This is kind of like Aaron is kind of like a sponsor, like sponsor someone to get into your camp. And then I'm wondering, do a little reaction or raise your hand if your camp does an application and would allow someone who's like unknown, like application process to get people in, unknown. Couple people. Cool. Yeah. Puppy, do you want to talk about how you like how do you feel out your vibes with people you don't even know?
That was an issue for our camp last year. So we get a fair number of emails from people, and from people who have never been to Burning Man before, saying, I want to go to Burning Man and we'd like to camp with your camp. It's because so Religious as Fuck offers, our programming is we offer decommodified and non-judgy Christian spiritual practice, and hospitality. And we're a gay-friendly, trans-friendly, very liberal Christian camp. But if someone's a Christian and they Google Christian Burning Man and they want to go, our name pops up and they contact us. And we so a good number of our campers are new, and so it starts with a screening call with one of the leaders, and we have to have two screening calls with two different leaders. And the couple of things we're screening for, the one main thing we're screening for, is we want to make sure that their understanding, their spirituality fits with ours, because we do get evangelical Christians who want to come to Burning Man and convert people away from the evils of Burning Man. And in our camp, we're burners first. Like, we're burners who happen to have this spiritual practice, and we want to make sure that someone's going to be okay in that environment. We want to make sure they're okay with, having we have trans campers, we have, queer non-binary campers. We want to make sure they're rugged enough to survive Burning Man, and want to get a feel just that they're not a dick. So that's basically what we're screening for. Um, we have so we have calls with two of the leaders, and that's basically what our process has been.
Mm,
Just two vetting calls, and then we'll usually hook them up with someone who's camped in the past for them to shepherd them. And then we do Zoom meetings for virgins and Zoom meetings for all camp and do all of that regular stuff. But last year we got in a problem because I love inviting people. And I'm come on in, the water is fine. And last year I invited too many people that weren't really passionate about our mission. Um, and we got kind of divided, and it felt very disjointed. And it also didn't help that Bill didn't finish till Wednesday. Um, but we felt disjointed because I let enough people in that weren't really passionate about our mission, that it just felt like there wasn't a very cohesive group. So
mm.
the leadership decided to not Brian so much or not Puppy so much, and just be so excited that someone wants to join us, and be a little more careful about who's going to be joining us.
Do you think any of those people who weren't as connected to your underlying mission might come back next year or this year and like
Yeah,
be more connected
yeah,
now?
yeah, oh yeah. And part of the big issue was I have some really close friends who were burners who were part of another camp, and they're who I go to party with. And that camp didn't show up and they needed a home. So I invited this group in, and they had a completely different energy and
Mm.
vibe. And that was a mistake on my part.
But like such a good example of like you can be really good friends and have a great time at Burning Man together, but not necessarily vibe in a way that you can camp together.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for talking about that. I think it like sometimes as TCOs we're like, yeah, everything's great. And then sometimes we don't take the accountability for when we maybe step in it a little bit. Yeah. And at Religious as Fuck, you all have a like a very particular and honed identity as a camp. And so
Right.
I would love to turn Captain Ron, if you'd be willing to share, because your camp is very different and brings in um people from all over. Um Captain Ron, if you wanted to talk about how you vet your applicants.
Sure. In the comments field, you'll see a link to a TCO sample application, camp
Mhm.
application. So, like many camps years ago, we had a pretty rigorous requirement that new burners could join the camp with a direct referral or a burn parent. And as the years dragged on and attendance numbers dropped, we had to change those vetting processes.
Mhm.
So we're a lot more open to new burners. Originally, we had set a cap of 30% new burners or virgins to the camp. Now that number is up to 50%. We'll take up to half of our population as virgins. And the sample theme camp application form that you'll see in the comments field reflects some of the changes, but it gives you the basic information that you need to get from them. And it pre-populates a spreadsheet and makes it very simple for you as a TCO to have everything at your fingertips to ask them the right questions. We basically say that 50% of your camp grade or score is based on your essay question answers. We want to know why you want to join our camp, what makes you a good burner or ideal for our camp. And now what's happened is that I've now had to go to a process based on the last 2 years where we had a much more lax application process where the people that joined the camp really didn't read any of the things like the code of conduct or understand truly the principles of Burning Man. So now I've had to add a questionnaire. So after they apply, we have an open book test. And basically, they get sent about a half a dozen questions, which they can answer. And it's like I said, it's open book. There's no time limit, but it lets me know that they've actually read all the associated materials about joining the camp. And I found that that worked pretty well this last year.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks, Catmaran, and thank you for the link in the chat. Super helpful. For people whose camps do a referral process, like a referral or a sponsor process. I know that not always, even with someone sponsoring someone, do we necessarily end up with amazing burners. Anyone want to share, even if you have like if someone's like, hey, I want my really good friend or my cousin or whatever to come to Burning Man with me. I want them to be in our camp. Any vetting that happens in your camp around that? How do you ensure that the person this person is sponsoring in is going to turn out well? Yeah, Claire.
So we're a bit of an odd camp because we're not a theme camp. We're a hybrid camp. We're work and art and mutant vehicle support people. And we're small. And we have been around for 11 years now. And we do it by referral. So if somebody wants to bring somebody, they first get a hold of me to make sure that we might have enough space, because by then I know roughly who's coming back.
And
And
Claire, how many people do you try to keep it to?
We don't have a fixed because we fluctuate depending on what project we're in support of. So for this year, we will be supporting 2 art projects and a small mutant vehicle, which also happens to be my work vehicle for my DPW job. And I think this year we're going to end up around 18. I think we've maxed out at 26, I think, one year. And at that point, at least 5 of those were children. So they count, though. They're still, they're around. So ours is a little different. But the way we do it is that if you want to bring somebody, you have to have camped with us. You can't suggest somebody unless you've camped with us for a minimum of 2 years. And then they contact me and say, I'd like to bring somebody. And I say, okay, I think we may be able to have room. And then they post, we have a Google group for our camp. And then they post a notice to our Google group saying, this is the person, this is why, all of that good stuff. 9 times out of 10, at least half of us know who this person is because we're such a tight group of people. And so there you go. Occasionally that is not the case. And the other rule we have is that if you've referred somebody and they come, you are responsible for them. And you get held to that in no uncertain terms. And I've got a great group of people. I've only once or twice had to be the person who's gone, hey, tighten up. This is not working. It's self-policed. But I think we're lucky in that regard because we're a very small camp. We're very close and we're not a theme camp. So we're not, it's a different dynamic. But our referral system has worked really well. It's worked really well. I will add one point, though, as a camp that's been around for about, I think this is our 11th year. I've lost count at this point. And I quit counting my burns after 15, which was a long time ago. You will find if you're a long-term camp that the dynamic within your camp changes because the people change. They grow older, they have kids, and they want to bring the kids, and we either say yes or no, and we've always said yes. But that has also caused our camp to change, and in fact, for some people to branch off. And it's not that they've left because they don't like our camp. It's because it just doesn't fit their needs any longer. And it's all been harmonious. Nobody's, lost their shit and got angry. So, that's the way we work. So we're a bit different, but that's my, tuppence worth.
Yeah. Yeah, Griffin.
Um, I will speak up for all of the above. That's what my camp did. We did every option under the sun. We had referrals if you were really like we were part of the camp. Again, we were all friends. So we definitely did that. But the linchpin behind all of it was our camp lead. He would make sure that he met with every single new person that was joining the camp, and they had like an interview with him to make sure that he knew the dynamics of the camp and that this person, whether it was remotely or in person, over a cup of coffee or whatever, was going to be a good fit for the camp. One of the other things that we did is several weeks prior, maybe it was a month or two, it was still within the summer, before the event, we would all have a camp out. And part of the reason of the camp out was to learn how to make blintzes because half of us had no clue how this was to be done. And the Playa is not really the time you want to be like learning how to do stuff and you're scrambling to get things ready before the breakfast rush. But we would have this camp out where we would all get together and it would be either at a friend's cabin or someplace, and we would be there for over the weekend. So we would have several days where we would be able to spend time with each other, get to know how our dynamics worked, learn a thing or two about making blintzes, and doing all of that. And that was part of like the camp cohesion. And so for those of us who were consistently going year after year, it was a really great time for us to get back and reconnect with people, especially when they were from out of town. And for the newbies, it was to kind of onboard them with some of us so they at least knew somebody, when they hit the dust. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like with several of us, there's some kind of, and in many cases, a lot of investment in bringing that new person, whether it is through their sponsor or just generally, up to speed with what this experience is going to be like before they get to the Playa. Yeah, Epiphany.
I want to throw it out there too, that it can be okay to welcome the stranger. And even though often in our case, that has to do with bringing in another bus and to some level that has some shared culture and ideas about what that means to camp and a shared lifestyle and what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Sometimes we have brought in strangers that aren't in the bus or don't have that kind of shared understanding, as it turns out. And sometimes what I've found is an element of success with that can be the ratio. Like the people that they're with, if they're with a whole bunch of other folks in camp or like surrounded by a bunch of other folks in camp who are really experienced and welcoming, that can be really helpful. And also, sometimes you get burned and it's still worth taking the risk. Because you learn a lot. You can learn a lot. And sometimes you end up with somebody who thinks it's fine to pee on the play.
And then what do you do in that moment? Because that is a crux moment for either turning your back on this person or using this as a moment to shape them into a particular person in the community. I'm kind of leading the question here.
Yeah, in our case, there was some initial like teaching, right? And then reminding, and then there was some yelling. And I think, at that point, the end of the event was upon us. So we were bringing camp. So
yeah,
it's a temporary situation.
Yeah. I mean, there's trying to have a teachable moment with someone, and sometimes as a leader, as Peter said in the chat, like strong leadership is important. Sometimes as a leader, you just have to say, I'm sorry, you need to GTFO.
Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah.
More often with folks that we loved and had with us for a long time.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I did see, I wanted to come back to, is it Dave's question? Where did it go? Drew's question, about like our collective feeling around the driver for either lower participation or lower enthusiasm of either returning or people coming initially. Um, and I actually maybe want to add to this a layer of maybe like burnout among TCOs, and or um maybe some like I heard maybe some murmurings of this in um where did it go? The issues that were had, I think maybe it was spreadsheet, issues that were had with like a group of people coming in and like not being good campers. Like where is this coming from for us? Either in like recruiting our people, in new people coming in, new campers coming in TCOs wanting to peace out and take a year off or giving up entirely. Or is this just like what happens to us? Yeah. What do we think it is? Yeah, spreadsheet.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, that was my question I put up in chat. It felt this year with our camp, we basically take everybody off the street and try to welcome them in. And, we try to be like a discount camp with fees, et cetera, et cetera. Which normally is great. We get a lot of people that at the first time, they're like, I can't wait to come back. This year with the newbies just felt different. We had one camper in particular that I could probably do a whole campfire talk about, that was just the worst of the worst. Not enough to where we felt the core leads where we felt like we need to evict this person from camp. But it just like every day, it was something like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. But yeah, just like the especially the new people, it just this year felt horrible. And I don't know if it was just us. Was it the weather? Was it the 24-hour wait time to the gate? I don't know. And this we're trying to figure out for this year is how do we address that? Or is this a trend? Is it an anomaly? Kind of curious whatever people have feel or heard about that.
Yeah, Captain.
I'll address that because I'm the admin for the TCO group. I see all the traffic, and the general trend that we're seeing is that because attendance numbers, it's been very difficult to recruit people to fill out your camp numbers. Across all the camps, I think the admission standards really were lowered quite a bit. People wanted to make their numbers, they needed income to run their camp. So people that would not normally make the cut got in. I think that's going to be a trend that's going to continue.
Yeah.
We can already see that the recruiting numbers, the efforts on the part of camps to start recruiting early numbers, even before they know their placement, have already begun, especially within the Facebook groups. I've got probably 24 camps that are actively trying to recruit across 30 different Facebook groups. And I would tell you that it's something we're going to have to live with. And a teachable moment. It's our camp motto is we build better burners. So it's upon us, I think, to educate these people, do a better job educating them before they get to the playa. Once they apply for the camp, you need to make it your mission to make them the best burner they can possibly be.
Claire?
Oh, yeah. I may be slightly misunderstanding the question, but one of the things I'm looking at the bigger picture rather than just the populations within individual camps. We seem to have peaked with the, oh my goodness, Burning Man sold out in 30 minutes. Where am I going to get a ticket? Tickets are now easy to get. And I think that one of the reasons for that is partly just a trend. People have been to Burning Man. I think that, and the economy is a huge one. But I think the other thing is there are so many quote festivals available now across the nation and internationally, which are frankly cheaper, easier to get to, which is a cost thing too, because of course we know that one of the biggest costs to come to Burning Man is actually not the ticket. It's usually travel, unless you're very close by. And because there are other alternatives, and also you're not committing for an entire week. You can go for a weekend and be comfortable. And I wonder if that is part of what we're facing now too, is that we've got a different kind of, our competition is different. And I don't want to say we're passe. We've been at it too long. I was passe years ago, so I really don't give a you know what. But yeah, that's just my thought.
Yeah, thanks. Bratty Cat.
Turning things on. I've also seen this trend, I think, on small and large scales. And I think it can be a good thing as we can teach them. I really think they should also be teaching us. Like, this is how culture evolves. And without opening that discussion of what they want Burning Man to be, we're never going to change our culture in a good way. And I don't know right now if there's a lot of spaces for that culture shift to happen. I see a lot of people holding on to what it was. I can see a lot of snark go the really wrong way. So I'm really hoping just to see more teachable moments, both directions. Like, maybe we are jaded. Maybe we're not. So just wanted to point that out, that like this could go both ways. Maybe we need to be the teachable ones.
I like that hot take. Yeah, Jeremy.
Yeah. So speaking of like the culture shifting and stuff like that, being somewhat new here, I do understand the principles. I abide by them. At the same time, when we were getting the word out about our tech art last year, we were a new company. And that's not the only thing that we do. Like, it's a really complicated system that we are also doing as a public benefits corporation. So we do have like a for-profit element that it exists outside of Playa. And so I kind of am here to learn a little bit about the leadership's thoughts, the community leadership's thoughts about how to share the message. Because the thing about this network is that it only exists on Playa. It's only for people on Playa. It doesn't connect you to Instagram, for example. But it also works best when more and more people use it. And so there's like a real benefit to Playa for people who want to use it, to have the ability to download it before they get there. And so I just want to kind of like pour thoughts around do's and don'ts. Be mindful of this. If you want to get the word out, try that.
Like for your art piece specifically?
Yeah, so it's an application, like a download. So we're actually
So
like, yeah, go ahead.
I bet you heard a lot when you started this. Like, if we want to talk about the jaded group of old burners that would push back on this, as of like, that alters immediacy, so the principle of immediacy where everything's happening right now, all of a sudden things are happening in a quantum way. Like one of the things about Burning Man is you have to get over FOMO because you're going to miss out because you're not going to know what everything's going on. And this app is breaking that. So I can see there might be people who just don't want to use it because they don't want
That's
to,
totally,
I don't want to know who's playing, that someone surprise jumped on this camp and is playing over there because, oh, but then I kind of would want to know. You know what I mean? Like it would alter Burning Man in its essence. So I can see you getting resistance. But I do love the fact to be able to wave a red flag in an emergency and have someone be able to get there quicker is incredible. But then I don't want to know when everyone finds the good porta-john. Someone's going to say that, and then there's going to be like a line outside the good porta-john, and then it won't be a surprise anymore. So that's my like internal dialogue when I think about your app. But that's just me.
That's really good feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. Claire and then Brad Cap. Oh, Claire, you're on mute though.
I said Bradley Cat had her hand up before me. Let her go first.
Okay, Brad Cat, go for it.
Sorry, just a clarifying question about your question. Were you asking about tips on how to promote it? Do's and
Yes,
don'ts
that
there?
too.
Another
Absolutely.
question. I guess I can turn this video on. You can see my face. Is this connected with an existing company?
Yes.
Make a new website.
Yes.
Perfect.
We did that last
I
year
would
too.
say
Yeah.
done. I would say besides that, as long as it's not even connected at all to that other company, I say promote the heck out of it. Immediacy, FOMOs, beware. I can't actually say that. This is as a me, not as a placer.
Thank you.
I would worry about the decommodification aspect of it is
Yep.
where my brain immediately goes. That's something I'm really passionate about, and that this is something purely for the Playa, something purely that your company is not making a profit on. There should
That's
not
right.
be an issue for it.
It's so this technology is something I've wanted to build for festivals for years, and then speak frankly, some among friends. I went to a 5MEO ceremony, and like I have this. Actually, there was an ayahuasca ceremony about a year before that, and I wrote a 48-page manifesto about how to decentralize the world with this technology. And I think that we're very aligned with Playa and the principles. There's definitely like an understanding on my part of like how important it is to get this right. And to elaborate just a little bit more on what connection medicine's like vision is we eventually want to get to the point where we have like 3D printed like boxes where you can like scan something and log in, and the network name is I love you, the network password is I love myself, and then the splash screen when you log in is we are all connected, because it's all happening peer to peer, phone to phone.
Can I chip in now?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brady Cat.
Yes, speaking as there's a difference between passé and jaded, by the way. I'm not jaded. I'm just old. I can see the value of this as somebody. So some of you know that I work for DPW Fuel. I'm one of the 4 field agents that cover the city and keep an eye on safe storage of fuel and safe use of fuel and all the rest of this. So as a department where we need to get messages out, like the weather, I wish, I'm all for something that helps us get that kind of information out, right? And I know this has been a topic of conversation in other department groups, especially after last year. So, well, and the year before. And the fact that the chances are we are facing a weather change here, that we're going to be seeing more of this need. And so the communication part, I think, is phenomenal. It's great. But the other thing is, nobody's forcing anyone to use this. It's a
That's right.
choice, right?
Mhm.
So if you want
Yes.
to be more connected, and I'm one of those people that really miss the days when the Playa was a complete black hole when it came to signals. I cannot tell you, for those of you that didn't experience this, I am so sorry. It was awesome because you could really just close yourself off from the rest of the world and just be who you wanted to be and not worry. And that has changed drastically. And that's where some of the pushback comes from, because we do miss that. But all of this is choice, right? I
That's
choose to
exactly
put
right.
my phone
Yes.
in the glove box of my truck when I come to Playa. I happen to have another phone that I have to use for my work because I'm geotagging generators and shit like that. But that's a tool I use for work. It's not one I use to, get hold of people. So that's part of it, is to get people to understand it's purely choice, right?
Yes, absolutely. And to your point, I totally get that. Actually, I was there last year at the invite from someone from the organization who I had met through getting this project started and asking mutual connections. I was really wanting to like get into the burn because after I was talking about this idea for so long, everyone was like, "This belongs at the burn. This belongs at the burn." And he came by and visited me on Playa, and he's like, "Just take a day and put your phone down, disconnect completely." And I totally see the value in that. And I guarantee you I'll be doing that for at least one day on the burn for the rest of my life. And on the topic of choice, I'm also very excited to be able to say, "Hey, Garrett, where are you?" "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
across such and such," right? And he can obviously have his phone off and be completely offline.
Yeah.
But if he wants to connect and I want to connect, now we can. I would love to sync up with you maybe afterwards, talk a little bit more about the departments. We're actually working with Borg to do a pilot for gate staff this year directly. Um, but that,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'll send you my email. We can chat at some
Great.
point. And this goes
Yeah.
to what Brady Cat was saying about culture forming, right? And changing. My day job involves anthropology, so I get it. But
Yeah, Brady.
Jeremy, I'll send you a message with my email.
Great. Thank you.
I have a personal request for this app. So for all these
Yes.
that tell you where something is, where's something going, I think it's not that Burning Man's a blank slate. It's that people go on a quest and they don't. It's something I think sometimes you see something and you just have to stop your bike breaking interactivity, and having that reminder on an app of like, hey, this guy's playing at 10. Make sure to do a stop or two.
Mhm.
Like having a
Oh,
reminder in a thing that making it to the camp you're going to is maybe not the actual thing you're going to, and
I love
stopping.
this.
So, check in, have a buzz, have it buzz you. I don't know. I
Hollow
want people to
inspiration.
see the little
Yeah.
thing on their way to the whatever show they're going to.
Absolutely. That is an absolute yes. Thank you.
Mercury.
Hey everyone. I have not introduced myself yet. I'm on Playa. I go by Mercury. If you meet me on the street out here, I go by Lauren. I have a small camp called the Guano Loco Lounge. We're like 12 to 15 people. This will be our third year, but I've been to the burn. This will be year 11.
Mm.
Jeremy, I have two things.
Oh,
I like
fantastic.
what Bratty Cat just said, and I would add on a random address generator. So I don't know if you saw last year, there was
Like the
someone
Department
who,
of Misinformation.
or I don't know, someone had a piece of art where they had like, you could spin a wheel. And I've actually created one of these myself too, where it comes up with like a letter and
Oh,
a time on the clock. And so you just go to a random address, right? When because nobody really, like you try to make a plan and then the plan doesn't work, but then so it's like, give me some random address to go visit. Now, maybe nothing's going on there, but maybe there is. And then you could share something about that with the people who are, who are there, or you could share that story, what you found. But some sort of random, send me on a random quest, right? Not, random place on Playa. And the second thing I would say, Jeremy, is I think TCOs could be your friend here. Like, people in our camps trust us. So yes, you can advertise this on Facebook and people might think it's a little bit commercially, but if they hear from me, like, no, guys, that's like a legit app. If you feel like you want a chance to be connected or find us when you can't find us one night out, I'll be on it. People who like us, who they trust, talk it up. In addition to advertising it in places like making it known across Facebook groups, I think. So maybe there's a way you can get access to all the TCOs or something. I don't know how that communication is organized, but I'm sure there's many of us that'd be willing to at least explain it to our camp, and try to make it known that it's not a commoditized thing, that, make sure people understand that it's built by the principles. It follows the principles.
Mercury, thank you. Can I ask a silly beginner question? What's
Sure.
a TCO?
Oh, that's sorry, theme camp organizer. That's who that's who many of us are on this call, it sounds like. And there's a Facebook group for camp organizers, and we're the ones who sign up to volunteer to, actually maintain and work with the org to get placement for people who want to join an actual camp group as opposed to free camping, and support the Playa in many ways.
Yes. I know that there's like a big focus on radical self-reliance and self-organization, and I wouldn't necessarily expect that my friends in the org would necessarily go give me a list of all the TCOs.
Yeah,
Is
that's
there
what I
like
know.
a
I was
group
thinking
somewhere?
that too. Like, there will be people that don't want to talk about it, but I don't know. I have a feeling there's ways to get connected and have your message, especially again guided by the principles, like just so that it gets differentiated from some other
Yeah.
rando. People don't feel like it's
Yeah.
some sort of rando commercial product that's not actually endorsed.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. This is so good.
And within a couple of years, Jeremy, I have a feeling your app is going to be just a digital version of the Book of Hopes and Dreams, which is the book of the events that happen on the Playa. And if you go to one of those things, the chances of that thing happening are, did my newbie camper get too high last night or too drunk last night and they didn't show up for their shift, and so this event is not happening. So I'm really sorry that you
Wow.
wanted to have blintzes at 10 a.m., but that's not happening today.
Okay, so after I had my 5MEO ceremony and I came up with this and had this like revelation, I was like, I want to give the gift of connection and love. And so to hear you say that about the Book of Hopes and Dreams, like it's kind of connected to some of the other things that I had outside of just the connection medicine that we had talked about.
Can
This
that
is
be the
really
name of the
good.
app?
The Book
The
of Hopes
gift
and
of
Dreams.
connection.
The hopes of
I was thinking Sandbox.
Which, Jeremy, if just in case, the What, Where, When book, which is what you get when you go into Greeters.
Oh,
The What, Where, When book, which is the book that you get with your map when you go to Greeters, that has like the list of all of the events that people have submitted to the Playa.
mm,
My camp affectionately calls the Book of Hopes and Dreams because we submitted our event to the What, Where, When book with the hopes and dreams that we are indeed going to have it at 4 p.m. on Tuesday. And I sure hope we're able to do that at 4 p.m. on
yes.
Tuesday.
Yes,
It
yes,
might
yes,
be
yes.
6 p.m. on Tuesday. And it might not happen at all because we drank all the champagne on Sunday. So,
Gotcha. Now I understand. Thank
yes.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Which we call it that for exactly that reason. We had we were doing bottomless mimosas on Sunday morning and we drank all the champagne, and so we couldn't have it again because All the champagne was gone. So yeah. Griffin, I see you.
Sorry, I had to add to that because and I'm at 9 o'clock. My camp used to be at 9 o'clock. So we walked an hour down to 8 o'clock. We just wanted to go for a casual stroll in the evening. Why we chose that particular evening, it was a zoo. Like the rangers were there, everybody was there. There were bikes and like vehicles, and just at the 8 o'clock sector, we were like, what is going on in the middle of the junction? Apparently, somebody had put in the what, where, when that a very famous DJ was going to play at the junction, like at the crossroads, and everybody showed up, and it was just nobody was there, obviously, but it was, yeah. So a casual walk turned into this like hilarious gaps. It was fun.
Hmm.
It was great.
Is this the part of the webinar where we tell everyone, I guess I'll see you on Thursday at dawn at the trash fence to see Daft Punk?
You're not supposed to tell them the time. You're just supposed to let them know where it is and what of the 10-mile fence it's supposed to be
Right,
on.
exactly. Just at
Now,
the whole trash fence.
The whole trash fence. It's at the
no, I'm
entire
sorry, but Daft Punk at the trash fence really is passe.
Yes.
That's we're done with that one, aren't we?
And we've stated about it.
So my theory about this is that one day Daft Punk will actually play at the trash fence and nobody would ever believe that it happened.
I hope
That
so.
may already have
It
happened.
may have already
Griffin.
happened. Yeah. Puppy?
Puppy.
Yeah, so I'm just going to mention the quickest version of this is last burn. Someone punked a bar by picking a time and a day and saying there was going to be butt plug tug of war at that bar. And people showed up to see butt plug tug of war. And the guy that put it in the book brought the items for butt plug tug of war. And then walked around, and no one was wanting to do butt plug tug of war, but it was the best day the bar ever had because they were packed with people. And then finally, one of the virgins at our camp offered to be a contestant in butt plug tug of war. And then someone else joined up, and there was a random butt plug tug of war that happened. Anyway, there you go.
Burning Man is a duocracy. If you want to show up and see butt plug tug of war, make it happen yourself. I love it. Bratty Cat, were you going to jump in?
I just actually had a question. My camp, here's my face again, has a unofficial official prank war with another, and I'm wondering if there are any other secret prank wars that happen. If I have to give up mine, I will, but
It wouldn't be a secret prank war anymore.
I guess just like rivalries between camps that have been going on for years. Like
we for a while, this hasn't happened in a long time, and I'm not sure why, but our main mutant vehicle is the clock ship Terry. And at one point, and I don't know how this, I have no idea how this happened, but we ended up with a giant stuffed penguin from the last penguin camp. And we, quote, tattooed it by sewing one of our patches to it. And this became a thing every year. This beast would show up in camp. I have no idea how. That hasn't happened in a while, but that was a fun one. That was a fun one to do.
Griffin.
Got a fun story. Sorry. Across from our camp was No Regret Skis and Tim Hortons. And so in the mornings when we were making blintzes, they would be giving out donuts. And so I actually have a story that links, oddly enough, butt plugs and like rivalries together, because I showed up in line and I thought, oh my God, this, it's Timbits from Canada, right? You've got Canadian donuts. And I was like, wow, you guys brought this from Canada? They're like, no, we got it from Safeway. But they had a spin the wheel where they had weighted it to where one of the options was to get a butt plug, and somebody in the front line was like, yeah, I'll take that. And they did, and I was just standing in line. in line, and it was really funny. But we were both on loud hailers, and so we were fighting at each other, trying to get people. It doesn't matter, right? To like not go into their line and come to our line, and it was like this rivalry that was just happening at 10 o'clock in the morning when everybody had been out partying, and it was so much fun. But what was even more fun was I'm plugging the symposium now. I went to the happy hour after the symposium in San Francisco a couple years ago, and who should show up? And I like he pulls up, and I'm like, oh my! I didn't even know his name, and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing here? It was so much fun. And so now we just randomly see each other at random Burning Man events. But it was great. Yeah.
What lovely serendipity.
I know, it was lovely. It's kind of awesome. Sometimes having rivalry with camps is it's so much fun. Randomly. Yeah.
We had a neon painted dog, I guess, like gargoyle dog thing, that was stolen and restolen, capture the flag style, back and forth all week.
I can tell you another one. It wasn't really a rivalry, but it was something I really loved. And it was, I think it was 24. And we were in the 730 sector, and overnight, a whole series of table lamps appeared at sort of randomly on the frontage of various camps. I'm up at 6, I'm up real early, and I get out and there's this gorgeous LED table lamp sitting on one of our trailers, our transport trailers. And it disappeared the next day, and then it reappeared. And I looked down the street and there were various ones. So somebody was just putting them out. So it was a bit like a spontaneous art project. And that sort of thing at Burning Man just lifts my heart. I love seeing things like that. It's small, it's not grandiose, it's simple. A lot of people probably never noticed it. They had their hands in their phones and they were walking down the road, never saw it. But yeah, that kind of thing is really sweet.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if this might be the time to actually plug the camp symposium. Building on a lot of the themes that we have talked about today, next month, Saturday, March 14th, we'll be having the 2026 Burning Man Theme Camp Symposium. It'll run all day from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with lots of different topics. We'll have several breakout sessions. We're going to have some themed spotlights. We'll also have a plenary address to hear from level and placement and some other departments in the org. Really encourage you all to attend. Tell your theme camp friends to attend, have your campers attend. And then if you're local to San Francisco, we will be having a happy hour after the camp symposium at Burning Man headquarters, which is an amazing time capsule of Burning Man. So if you are interested in joining the Theme Camp Symposium, we're going to drop a link in the chat to register for Theme Camp Symposium. We're also seeking volunteers to help with Camp Symposium and then also with Camp Support, Camp Network, which is us. So if you are interested in our team and joining our team, we'd love to have you. And hoping to see you all for our next Campfire Talk after the camp symposium to talk about it all together. Yeah, Puppy.
So the 2.5 weeks after the symposium on a Tuesday night, this time, Our next campfire talk is going to be something new, and it's just going to be an open conversation like this to talk about things that came up in the symposium. Because at the symposium, we get a lot of information, and it sparks some stuff, but we don't have a chance to digest it as a community. So we wanted to have, an open call with camp leaders after we hear what the org has to say, what placement has to say. We go to the breakout session on weather or whatever. Then we have a chance to come together and meet like this and just, hash out what we heard, what we learned, what we want to process from the symposium. So it's sort of a tack on follow-up to the symposium.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to see you all again at the end of March to talk through what did you think about the symposium and what should we all continue to talk about as we get ready for the burn. We're really curious to hear your feedback about tonight. We have dropped our link to our feedback form in the chat. We use that to help guide where we take these calls and what we want, what people want to hear about and what topics people want to talk about. So please take a second to fill out our feedback form. And if you are interested in additional resources or joining our team, those links are also in the chat. Thank you all for being here tonight. It was really nice to hear your voices and see your faces. Please continue to engage with our team online at the Camp Symposium and then also in our Campfire talks coming up in the next couple of months. Really nice to talk with you all, and I can't wait to see you again. Thank you for being here, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks so much. This has been awesome.
Thanks, you all.
Yeah.
Bye,
This
everyone.
was so fun.
Yeah.
Yay.
So much
Thank you,
tonight.
Vesper.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. See you
everyone.
next
Good to
time.
see you.
Thanks for hanging in there, Maura.
Thanks. Jeremy, be in touch with us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I wanted to just say I came in a little bit nervous and I felt so supported and seen. So thank you all.
Right on.
You're welcome.
Claire, it was nice to see you. Thanks for coming tonight.
Claire, I sent you email and connected you with Jeremy. I hope you saw that.
Yeah, we managed to connect. And Jeremy, I
Okay.
just sent you one more message
Got
before
it.
you disappeared.
Ah,
You don't
thank
have to
you.
respond to it. It's just warning you.
I will. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, I gotta go, guys. Have a good one.
All
Bye,
right.
Claire.
Bye-bye. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Douglas, I hope, look for mobility camp, Douglas.
Yeah.
Please come to Burning Man.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.